Have you ever walked into a room absolutely ready to dominate a situation, only to have your grand plan just completely vaporized in the first 5 minutes?
Oh, absolutely. It's the worst feeling in the world.
Right. I mean, you know the feeling. You step up for a massive presentation at work, or like maybe you're kicking off a crucial project, and instantly everything that can go wrong does.
Yeah, you stumble right out of the gate.
Exactly. The room is staring at you, the momentum is completely gone, and the writing is seemingly on the wall. You've already lost.
Or at least it feels like you have.
Yeah, but then somehow you don't. You dig your heels in, you survive that initial wave of disaster, and you end up pulling off a masterstroke that leaves everyone utterly speechless.
Which is such a rare and amazing thing to
It
witness.
really is. And today, we're doing a deep dive into a sports match that perfectly illustrates this exact phenomenon.
Yeah, we have a fantastic match report today. It's titled, Spinners Stun Pakistan as Bangladesh Secures Dramatic Victory.
Yes, it's all about this wild 2026 Women's T20 World Cup clash in Southampton between Bangladesh and Pakistan. And honestly, it gave us an absolute masterclass in how dead ends are sometimes just detours,
It really is a fascinating case study because we are going to deconstruct the anatomy of a spectacular comeback here.
which I love.
Right, but we aren't just going to run through the scoreboard or, list the highlights. We really need to explore the underlying mechanics of momentum.
The psychology of it.
Exactly. The mission today is to understand the precise psychology and tactics required to transform an inevitable defeat into a stunning victory. And really, what that teaches us about resilience, strategic restraint, and handling suffocating pressure.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to understand how incredible a comeback was,
Hmm.
we really have to establish how utterly disastrous the start was for Bangladesh.
It was a nightmare start.
Total nightmare. They walked into Southampton, and their captain, Nigar Sultana, had a very specific vision. She looked at the pitch, saw the conditions were incredibly batting friendly, and her directive was clear.
Go out and attack.
Right. Go out there, take total advantage, and set a massive, intimidating tone early on. That was the blueprint.
A good plan in theory.
Sure. But Pakistan's captain, Fatima Sana, basically took that blueprint, crumpled it up, and threw it off a cliff in the very first over.
She really did. I mean, Asana's opening over wasn't just good, it was a psychological dismantling.
Oh, completely.
She delivered a double stripe almost immediately, which just shattered Bangladesh's intended tempo. You had Dilara Akter trying to force the issue, attempting this wild hack across the line.
Total panic shot.
Exactly, a panic shot. And she was caught off the second ball of the second over. And then, just 3 balls later, Sana bowled a delivery to Shorna Akter that fundamentally changed the geometry of the pitch.
I was reading the reporting on this specific delivery, and it is so vivid. The ball jagged back in from a considerable distance.
Right, which is just lethal.
Because, I mean, for anyone who hasn't faced elite fast bowling, it's terrifying. Your brain is calculating a trajectory based on how the ball leaves the hand.
Right. Exactly. You're tracking the release point.
So you commit your weight forward, expecting the ball to continue on its natural outward path. But then, at the very last microsecond, the ball hits the seam on the pitch and violently changes direction.
It darts sharply right back toward your body.
Yeah. It completely beat Shorna Akter's inside edge and thumped right into the pads in front of the stumps. I mean, your brain knows you're beaten before your bat even finishes the swing.
That is the perfect description of the biomechanics involved. It leaves a batter completely paralyzed.
Paralyzed is the right word.
And the statistical footprint of Sana's opening burst really reflects that paralysis. After her first 10 balls, Bangladesh hadn't scored a single run off her.
Wow.
Think about the pressure of a maiden over. 6 consecutive balls where you cannot find a way to score a single run. The batters are just suffocating.
And her final line for that opening spell was insane.
Right, 3 overs, 1 maiden, 9 runs, and 2 wickets. When your opening bowler is applying that kind of vice grip, the entire energy of the fielding team elevates in response.
And we really saw that fielding elevation for Pakistan. Because, coming into this match, Pakistan had actually been struggling in the field.
They had been. Lots of dropped catches.
Yeah, shelling catches, missing crucial chances in earlier games. But suddenly the pressure Sana was applying seemed to miraculously cure all of that.
It's amazing how that works.
Right? You had Nashra Sandhu safely catching Waria Faridus off the bowling of Tasmir Rubab. And then Aliyah Riaz, who, by the way, had been under serious fire from critics for poor fielding previously.
Oh, she took a lot of heat.
She really did. But she safely takes this high-pressure catch from Ritu Moni at long on.
And that specific catch by Riaz is a pivotal micro moment in the broader narrative of the tournament.
How so?
Well, I'm sure it provided massive relief to Pakistan's fielding coach, but more importantly, it sent a terrifying signal to the Bangladesh locker room.
Like we aren't messing around today.
Exactly. It communicated that there were absolutely no easy runs available today and no second chances would be gifted. Pakistan was operating at peak ruthless efficiency.
They looked vastly improved from their earlier losses to South Africa and India.
They really did. And by the fifth over, Bangladesh was absolutely reeling at 13 for 3.
Yeah, 13 for 3. I mean, that is beyond a bad start. It's an emergency.
This is crisis mode.
It's like sitting down for a chess match and losing your queen and 2 rooks in the first 5 moves.
That's a great way to put it.
Pakistan had all the leverage, and Bangladesh was just trying to keep their knuckles off the wood. Honestly, with Pakistan fielding this well, holding onto their catches, and bowling aggressively with Sana looking unplayable, I have to argue that this game was effectively over right there in the first 6 overs.
You think so?
Well, yeah. The grand plan is dead. You don't just magically recover from that level of dominance.
I'm going to push back on the idea that the game was actually over, though it certainly felt that way to the spectators.
Okay, why?
What you're describing is the psychological trap of early dominance. It's a very real phenomenon. When a team starts exceptionally well, they can inadvertently relax prematurely. They look at the scoreboard, they see 13 for 3, and human nature subtly whispers, the hard work is done.
So the urgency drops.
Exactly, just by a fraction of a percent. But cricket, much like a complex corporate merger or a multi-year project you might tackle, isn't decided by the opening moves.
Right.
The initial shock and awe phase ends, and then you enter the grind. Bangladesh realized they couldn't win the game in the 6th over, but they could certainly lose it if they panicked.
So they changed gears.
Totally. They completely abandoned their initial dominate strategy and shifted their entire objective to survive.
Which brings us to the rebuilding phase. The anchor and the hammer.
I like that.
Yeah, Bangladesh had to stop the bleeding, and they needed someone to just stand in the middle and refuse to leave.
And that responsibility fell squarely on Captain Nigar Sultana and Subhana Mostri.
Right. Sultana grinds out 36 off 38 balls, and Mostri chips in with 22 off 19. It's not flashy. It's not going to make a highlight reel.
No, it's the definition of doing the dirty work. But it is the most critical phase of the comeback.
Just survival.
Right. By simply staying out there, absorbing the physical and mental pressure, and ticking the scoreboard over with singles, they built a foundation. They stabilized the ship.
And proved it wasn't impossible.
Exactly. They proved to their own locker room that the Pakistani bowlers were, in fact, human and could be navigated.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because once that foundation is laid and the panic has subsided, Bangladesh decides it's time to launch the counterattack.
The hammer part of your analogy.
Yes. Sultana and Mostri are the foundation repair crew, but Shorna Akter is the absolute fireworks display at the end of the night.
She was unbelievable.
She comes in and blasts a brilliant 39 not out of just 22 balls. And the tactical execution of her innings was phenomenal.
It really was.
I mean, 2 balls into the 18th over, Bangladesh were 92 for 6 after Sultana got out to a weak shot off Sadi Iqbal. It looked like the innings might just fizzle out to a mediocre total.
Which happens a lot in these situations.
But Shorna completely took over, helping Bangladesh score 43 runs in those final 4 overs, largely by hitting 5 boundaries.
What's fascinating here is how Shorna managed to score those boundaries against a Pakistani team that knew exactly what she wanted to do.
Right, they saw it coming.
They tried to counter her aggression by packing the offside with fielders. They basically built a human wall and dared her to try and hit through it.
But she didn't just swing harder.
No, Shorna adapted her biomechanics on the fly.
Yeah, she would purposefully retreat deep into her crease before the ball was bowled.
Right, stepping backward.
And by stepping backwards, she artificially created more distance between herself and the pitch of the ball.
Which gave her the room she needed.
Exactly. It gave her the necessary room to get under the delivery and loft it entirely over that wall of fielders. Or she would deliberately scythe the ball, slicing it with precision through the tiny gaps they left open.
It was a surgical dismantling of a defensive setup.
It really was. And thanks to her, Bangladesh posts a total of 123 for 6. But honestly, I have a question about this.
Go for it.
How does a team mentally switch from that pure survival mode at 13 for 3, where you were just terrified of breathing wrong, to the fearless, aggressive counterattack we saw from Shorna?
It seems contradictory, right? But the psychological shift to extreme aggression is actually enabled by the survival phase that preceded it.
Oh, because the pressure is off.
Exactly. When you are 13 for 3, the pressure is entirely on the batters to not make a fatal mistake. You are gripping the bat way too tight.
You're just trying not to ruin everything.
Right. But once Sultana and Malstory dragged the team to a respectable, albeit modest, position, the absolute worst-case scenario, total humiliation, was off the table.
That makes sense.
So Shorna walked in knowing she had a license to attack because the structural foundation was finally secure.
And by pushing the total from a mediocre 90 up to 123, Bangladesh completely shifted the psychological burden back onto Pakistan.
Huge shift.
Because 123 is a tangible target. It gives your bowlers a real number to defend rather than just abstractly trying to bowl well.
Precisely. A target of 124 to win is entirely manageable in modern T20 cricket.
Right. On paper, it's a very straightforward chase.
But in a World Cup scenario, with the pressure of potential elimination hanging over you, the numbers on the scoreboard aren't just math, they are a psychological weight.
Although early on, Pakistan made that weight look incredibly light.
They really did.
They started their chase perfectly. Their openers, Gul Feroza and Muniba, who scored 25, were just coasting. By the time they were 2 balls into the 8th over, Pakistan was sitting pretty at 49 for 0. Cruising. They even safely navigated Shorna Akter's opening spell. And this is a huge detail.
Oh, it's absolutely massive.
Because Shorna had previously terrorized Pakistan in the 2025 ODI World Cup in Colombo, taking 2 wickets in the very first over against them. So getting past her without any damage must have felt like clearing a massive mental hurdle for the Pakistani openers.
It absolutely did. At 49 for 0 in the 8th over, Pakistan had successfully absorbed the absolute best punch Bangladesh had to offer with the new ball.
Yeah, the seamers hadn't broken through.
Right. And Pakistan was in complete command of the required run rate. Anyone watching that match, the commentators, the fans, and certainly the players in the dugout would have felt the game was entirely under Pakistan's control.
So what does this all mean? Like, how do you go from a comfortable, zero-stress cruise at 49 for 0 to the catastrophic collapse that followed?
It's a great question.
Because from the 8th over to the 16th over, Pakistan lost 8 wickets for just 35 runs.
Yeah, it's hard to even process those numbers.
Let me repeat the sheer math of that disaster for everyone. 8 wickets for 35 runs. You don't just forget how to hold a bat.
No, you don't.
Is this a sudden physical failure of elite skills, or did panic just spread through that locker room like a virus?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you're right. It's rarely a sudden loss of physical skill. I mean, these are elite, world-class athletes.
Right.
What we are witnessing is the domino effect of pressure exposing a severe structural failure within the team's batting hierarchy.
Okay, break that down for me.
When Feroza was finally dismissed, she chopped a half-tracker to point, and then Muniba hit a big hop to deep square leg shortly after the opening stand was broken.
Which happens.
Losing openers happens in cricket all the time. But what followed exposed a massive systemic vulnerability. Pakistan completely lacked middle management.
Oh, I love that framing. Middle management.
Yeah.
Let me see if I had this right. In a run chase, your openers are like the entry-level whiz kids. They set the tone, they break new ground.
Exactly.
But your middle-order batters are the project managers. Their job is to keep the momentum going, navigate the tricky middle phases when the ball gets older, and ensure you reach the final target smoothly without any sudden alarms.
That is an excellent way to look at it. The middle order has to read the room.
Right.
But in this match, none of Pakistan's middle order batters took responsibility once the project hit a snag. No one stepped out to the middle and said, I will anchor this phase. I will absorb the new pressure.
But look, if my team loses the opening stand in a quick cluster, I'm expecting my captain to step up and do exactly what Fatima Sana did. She was the hero with the ball, so it makes sense she would try to carry them with the bat. It's the leader's job to save a sinking ship.
Well, I'm going to challenge that assumption.
Really?
Yes, because relying on your captain to play Superman in every facet of the game is actually a glaring sign of systemic failure.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes, Sana tried to rescue them. She is a phenomenal player. But the entire team seemingly abdicated their own roles, waiting for her to produce a valiant, heroic effort to clean up the mess they were actively creating.
Which is too much to ask of one person.
Exactly. And when she ultimately holed out to long on in the 18th over, sparking massive celebrations for Bangladesh, it was the final, devastating nail in the coffin.
Wow.
When an entire organizational structure relies on a single heroic leader to save the day, rather than trusting the competency of its individual parts, that structure is inherently fragile.
It's shattered.
Complete collapse.
But, we can't fully understand Pakistan's collapse without analyzing the architects who engineered it.
Very true.
Because this wasn't merely an unforced error on Pakistan's part. It was ruthlessly orchestrated by a very specific tactical weapon deployed by Bangladesh. The spinners.
Oh, the spin bowlers turned the game from a cruise into a desperate street fight.
Nahida Akter was brilliant.
Incredible. She was the one who broke that opening stand, claiming 3 wickets for just 18 runs. She cracked the door open by forcing the batters to create their own momentum.
Let's talk about the mechanics of that because it's vital. When a fast bowler comes at you throwing the 75-mile-an-hour ball, the ball already has all the energy it needs.
Exactly, the pace is supplied.
Right, so as a batter, you just have to angle your bat and redirect that energy to the boundary. You use the bowler's own speed against them.
Yes.
But a spin bowler, they toss the ball up slow. They are starving the batter of pace. If you want that ball to reach the boundary, you have to generate 100% of the power yourself.
Exactly. And that is where the psychology intersects with the physics.
Okay, how so?
Well, if you are a batter already feeling the mounting pressure of a collapsing run chase, and suddenly you are forced to generate all your own power against accurate, slow spin bowling, your mechanics start to break down.
Because you're trying too hard.
You overswing, you lose your shape. That's why Feroza chopped a half-tracker.
Right, half-tracker, which is a ball that bounces way too early. Remember?
Yes, and under normal circumstances, a batter of her caliber would easily crush it to the boundary.
But the pressure.
The pressure and the lack of pace forced her to mistime it completely. The same goes for Muniba's dismissal, which was a big hop that she tried to force, resulting in a pop-up catch to deep square leg.
And once Nahida Akter cracked that door open, Sanjida Akter Meghla kicked it entirely off its hinges.
She was phenomenal.
She swept through the middle order, taking 3 wickets for 21 runs. She dismissed Asha Zafar, Aliyah Riaz, and took out Sierra Jabin for a duck.
Just a dominant performance.
But here is the detail from the match report that absolutely blew my mind. Meghla's addition to the starting lineup was the only alteration Bangladesh made from their previous loss to Australia. Just one single change.
This raises an important question about the concept of strategic restraint.
Strategic restraint.
Yeah. In elite sports, and frankly in corporate environments as well, human instinct after a painful loss is to panic.
Oh, for sure. You want to burn it all down.
Exactly. We want to burn the house down and start over. We want to overhaul the entire squad, change the whole strategy, and make sweeping declarations.
It's human nature.
It is. So it takes immense emotional discipline for a coaching staff to analyze a defeat, identify the specific, singular missing component, and change only that component while trusting the rest of the system.
It's like finding a bug in massive software program that keeps crashing and having the restraint to change one single line of code rather than rewriting the entire operating system.
That is exactly what it's like.
Bangladesh's management recognized that to win in Southampton against this specific Pakistani batting lineup, they didn't need a new philosophy. They just needed to choke the run rate in the middle overs.
Right, so they brought in Meghla to do exactly that.
And it made the entire system run flawlessly.
And the tournament implications of that one tactical masterstroke were massive.
Oh, huge.
With this 23-run victory, Bangladesh vaulted all the way up to number 3 in Group 1, keeping their advancement hopes very much alive, even with South Africa still having a game in hand.
Right. And on the flip side, the fallout for Pakistan was absolutely devastating.
It was the end of the line.
Yeah.
This marked Pakistan's 3rd consecutive loss in the group stage. It officially, mathematically eliminated them from the 2026 Women's T20 World Cup, with 2 games still left on their schedule.
That's brutal.
They were left stranded at number 5 in the group, with only the tournament newcomers, the Netherlands, sitting below them in the standings.
Which is a remarkably heartbreaking conclusion, especially when you think back to how utterly dominant they looked in the first 6 overs of this very match.
When Sana was unplayable.
Right, with Sana bowling maidens and the fielders catching absolutely everything. The margin between executing your strategy and completely unraveling is just terrifyingly thin.
It is. But Bangladesh proved that if you can endure the initial onslaught, if you can survive when everything is going wrong, and intelligently apply targeted pressure in the middle phases, you can force your opponent into making fatal, unforced errors.
And I think that's a really powerful takeaway, whether you were Analyzing a World Cup match or just navigating a rough Tuesday at the office.
Absolutely.
A disastrous start, whether you are down 13 for 3 with your game plan in ashes or you completely botch the opening of a vital pitch, does not dictate your final outcome.
Survival is a strategy.
Yes, it allows for later brilliance. Shorna Akter couldn't have hit those match-winning boundaries if Sultana and Mosfri hadn't first stopped the bleeding and absorbed the damage. You have to stay in the game long enough to win it.
And conversely, Pakistan's collapse is a stark warning about the danger of early complacency.
Yeah, good point.
Just because the launch goes perfectly doesn't mean the project will manage itself. You have to maintain that structural integrity and middle management responsibility all the way through the grueling middle phases.
It really is an incredible psychological study wrapped up in a cricket match. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to mull over.
I love these.
Something that wasn't explicitly debated in the reports, but seems to be hiding right beneath the surface of this entire story. Think about Pakistan's captain, Fatima Sana. She's brilliant individually. She executed her job with absolute perfection.
She was incredible.
But her team collapsed around her, seemingly waiting for her to walk out and save them again with the bat. It makes you wonder, in your own life, your business, or your community, when you rely entirely on one singular hero to save the day, are you actually making your entire organization more fragile?
That's a great question to ask.
Keep that in mind the next time you find yourself navigating muddy waters. Thanks for joining us.